Did you know it would take 11 Empire State Buildings, stacked one on top of the other, to measure the Gulf of Mexico at its deepest point? The Empire State Building, a marvel of modern architecture, stands tall at about 1/4 mile. Now, picture 11 of these giants, one atop another. That's the astonishing depth of the Gulf of Mexico. It's like an underwater skyscraper city, silent and dark. Quite hard to imagine, isn't it? Now, let's move on to something equally fascinating. Do you know who was the first person selected as Time magazine's Man of the Year? It was none other than Charles Lindbergh, the daring aviator who made the first solo non-stop flight across the Atlantic in 1927. His remarkable feat not only revolutionized aviation, but also captivated the world, earning him this prestigious recognition. Lindbergh's story is a testament to the power of determination and the spirit of exploration. From the depths of the ocean to the skies, our next fact is equally staggering. How much would you pay for a cow? Probably not as much as this one. Imagine shelling out a whopping $1.3 million for a single cow. That's right, in an auction, this cow fetched a price that would make any cattle rancher's jaw drop. The reason? This bovine beauty was no ordinary cow. She came from a lineage of prime, award-winning cattle, boasting superior genetics that promised outstanding offspring. Expensive, isn't it? Now let's move on to something about literature. Did you know how long it took Leo Tolstoy to write War and Peace? The Russian author embarked on a 6-year journey to pen this masterpiece, immersing himself in the lives of his characters and the turbulent era they navigated. His dedication resulted in one of the most renowned novels in world literature. A testament to perseverance, Tolstoy's effort demonstrates that great works of art require not just talent, but an unyielding commitment. Quite a commitment, isn't it? Now let's dive into some history. Did you know the Neanderthal's brain was bigger than yours is? That's right. Our ancient cousins, the Neanderthals, had brains that were about 15% larger than our own. This size difference doesn't necessarily mean they were smarter, but it does raise fascinating questions. For instance, it's thought that the Neanderthals' larger brain size was needed to control their bigger bodies and to survive in their harsh environment. Now, that's something to ponder over. Let's move on to something equally intriguing. Have you ever looked closely at the new $100 bill? If you have, you might have noticed some fascinating details. This isn't just any ordinary piece of currency. It's a canvas of hidden treasures and historical nods. Among these captivating elements is the depiction of Independence Hall. Now, let's focus on the clock tower of Independence Hall. What's peculiar about it? The time displayed on it. If you squint and look closely, you'll see that the time is 4:10. But what does 4:10 signify? Well, that's a mystery that has intrigued many. Some speculate it could be a nod to a historical event, others believe it might be an artist's signature touch. But the truth remains elusive. It's fascinating, right? How a simple $100 bill can hold such intriguing mysteries. Interesting, isn't it? Now, let's delve into the history of playing cards. Did you know each suit on a deck of cards has a historical significance? That's right, these symbols we casually shuffle and deal in our poker nights trace their roots back to the Middle Ages. Let's start with the heart. The heart, pulsating with life and love, represented the church, the spiritual backbone of society. Moving on, we have the spades, sharp and militant, symbolizing the military, the guardians of the realm. Next, the club, sturdy and grounded, stood for agriculture, the life-sustaining force that fed the population. Finally, the diamond, gleaming with prosperity, was a nod to the merchant class, the traders and businessmen who powered the economy. So the next time you pick up a deck, remember, you're not just holding 52 pieces of cardstock, you're holding centuries of history, each suit a testament to the 4 major pillars that once held up society. Quite a history lesson, isn't it? Now let's move on to something about famous landmarks. Did you know the stone lions in front of the New York Public Library have names? Quite the characters, these statues are affectionately known as Patience and Fortitude. These names were bestowed upon them by the then mayor Fiorello LaGuardia. He believed that these virtues were exactly what New Yorkers needed to survive the Great Depression. So the next time you pass by, give a nod to Patience and Fortitude, guardians of knowledge and symbols of resilience. Quite an interesting piece of trivia, right? Now, let's move on to something about architecture. Did you know a library can sink? The main library at Indiana University does. When it was constructed, the engineers failed to factor in one crucial element: the weight of the books. Yes, you heard it right. The sheer weight of knowledge it houses is causing the library to descend over an inch every year. Talk about being heavy with wisdom. It's a testament to the tangible impact of books on our world. Quite a unique problem, isn't it? Now, let's end with a fun fact about a popular movie. Did you know how the sound of E.T. walking was made? It's an intriguing blend of creativity and simplicity. The iconic sound was produced by someone squishing her hands in jelly. Yes, you heard it right. The squelching, slightly slippery sound that we associate with E.T.'s movements was made by a pair of hands and some jelly. Sound effects often are not what they seem, proving that movie magic extends far beyond the visuals. Quite a creative solution, isn't it? And that brings us to the end of our fascinating journey of trivia.